Every single day, students generate a massive, unseen current of digital communication. Millions of texts, photos, and fleeting thoughts are pushed out into the network. The vast majority of this endless chatter is entirely harmless. It is the ordinary rhythm of daily life. Friends sharing homework, organizing weekend plans, or simply passing the time. But occasionally, a single message breaks that safe, familiar pattern. It might be a sudden burst of intense anger, an uncharacteristically dark comment in a group chat, or a deeply disturbing image. When that happens, the person on the receiving end faces an immediate dilemma. It is incredibly difficult to determine whether the author is simply having a miserable day, attempting a misguided joke, or issuing a genuine threat. When faced with that uncertainty, instinct often pushes us to jump to immediate conclusions. Reacting without assessing the situation, however, frequently sparks unnecessary panic or fuels harmful rumors across the campus. Learning to accurately categorize these concerning posts allows a school community to resolve simple misunderstandings quickly. More importantly, it forms the first line of defense in keeping everyone safe. The core problem with digital communication is that it operates in a context vacuum. When we speak through a screen, our natural physical human cues are left behind. We are looking at a plain text message isolated from its source. Without physical cues like facial expressions or tone of voice, we only have raw words. The human brain struggles to interpret intent, leaving the reader paralyzed by conflicting interpretations. People often try to patch this vacuum by typing "just kidding" or adding an emoji after a harsh statement. Those digital add-ons rarely restore the full context, and they do not erase the initial alarm the message caused. Because natural intuition fails in this digital vacuum, students must rely on an objective, logical framework to evaluate ambiguous messages and determine if they require action. The first category in that framework is venting. This is a temporary emotional release mechanism people use to process extreme stress, intense sadness, or frustration. A venting student might type highly dramatic statements about hating their day or feeling totally overwhelmed. These outbursts, while concerning to read, rarely correlate with an actual intent to cause physical harm to anyone else. However, if a student chronically expresses extreme hopelessness over a long period, they still need support. Constant venting requires adult intervention for the student's personal well-being, even if no direct threat is made. The second category is the joke. Tight-knit friend groups frequently develop their own insular language, using exaggerated, dark humor as a way to bond socially. The danger arises when those inside jokes are taken out of that context. If an exaggerated, violent comment is screenshotted and viewed outside that specific friend group, it instantly mimics the characteristics of a real threat. The original author may have genuinely intended it as a joke, but that internal intent does not invalidate the very real fear and disruption the message causes once it reaches the wider school community. Venting and dark jokes make up a large portion of alarming digital expressions, yet upon closer inspection, they both lack the specific, escalating variables that indicate an actual warning sign. This brings us to the final category, the serious threat. A genuine threat is not defined by how angry a text sounds. It is defined by the presence of concrete, measurable variables. This chart maps the elements that escalate a post to a high-risk level. The first critical variable is specificity. Danger increases significantly if a post names a concrete target, specifies a location, or dictates a clear timeline. The second variable is repetition. Evaluators differentiate between a singular, isolated outburst and a sustained, focused campaign of aggressive messaging built up over time. The third, most crucial variable is real-world behavior. Digital threats become exponentially more dangerous when paired with sudden physical isolation, severe withdrawal from friends, or intense, visible anger offline. It is important to note that no single one of these variables, standing in isolation, guarantees an individual will commit an act of physical harm, but a genuine threat reveals an undeniable pattern. It is the convergence of specific details, repeated focus, and behavioral changes that demands immediate outside intervention. Once a digital pattern crosses that threshold into a potential warning sign, the responsibility shifts to the person who sees it. There are immediate actions you must avoid to prevent escalation. Never confront the poster, investigate on your own, or forward the post to peers. The correct first step is containment. Secure the evidence by saving or screenshotting the concerning message, provided it is physically safe to do so. The mandatory second step is immediate transfer. Move this information completely out of your peer group and hand it directly to a trusted adult, like a teacher, parent, or guidance counselor. The primary psychological barrier to taking this step is the fear of getting someone in trouble. But alerting an adult to a severe warning sign is not an act of punishment. It is a vital intervention. Coming forward is designed to connect a distressed, struggling individual with professional support long before a tragedy has the chance to occur. Cultivating a secure school environment requires every individual to adopt a mindset of active observation and compassion. Is anchored by one simple, continuous protocol: pause, observe, and report.